And with that, we have another breaking update coming in because India has once again exposed Pakistan at the United Nations, accusing it of supporting cross-border terrorism and trying to spread false narrative on the global platforms. During this statement at the United Nations, India said that the country has suffered from terrorism for decades and pointed to Pakistan's tainted past on the terror-related activities. In fact, the representative said that the world can no longer ignore Pakistan's link to terror groups operating across the border. So that's the latest statement coming in from India, exposing Pakistan on the global stage. Listen in.
Thank you, Mr. President. We congratulate China on assuming the UNSC presidency for this month, and also welcome convening this annual open debate on the protection of civilians in armed conflict. We thank the Secretary General for his report and the briefers for their insightful remarks this morning. India reaffirms its strong commitment to the UN Charter and stresses that protecting civilians at all times, including conflict situations, is a central element of maintenance of international peace and security. In 2025, recorded civilian deaths across 20 armed conflicts was more than 37,000. Although this is the first decline after 3 years of steady increase, the numbers are still high. Continued civilian casualties, displacement, destruction of critical infrastructure, and attacks on hospitals, schools, medical personnel, and humanitarian workers remain deeply concerning. India calls for zero tolerance to the loss of civilian lives. Parties to armed conflict must ensure safe and unhindered humanitarian access while respecting international humanitarian law. Even a decade after adoption of UNSC Resolution 2286, repeated attacks on civilian facilities and humanitarian workers reflect a serious erosion of respect for international humanitarian law. India reiterates that medical personnel and humanitarian workers must be protected at all times. Mr. President, as highlighted in the UNSG's report, the use of missiles, bombs, and other explosive weapons in cities and populated areas remain a major cause of civilian harm. The growing trend of use of drones to deploy explosive weapons in urban areas is especially concerning. The use of emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence and autonomous systems by parties to conflict, must be in conformity with international law and humanitarian principles. Safeguards must be in place to prevent misuse and unintended harm to civilians. Protection of civilians cannot be achieved through humanitarian responses alone. The targeted use of violence against civilians to achieve political objectives, including terrorism, must be addressed comprehensively. India remains deeply concerned about the persistent threat posed by cross-border terrorism, which continues to undermine regional peace, stability, and the fundamental principles of international security. India has been a victim of such form of terrorism for decades. States that sponsor, shelter, or support terrorism must be held accountable. India has consistently emphasized that terrorism in all its forms and manifestations remains one of the gravest threats to civilians worldwide. No cause or grievance can justify deliberate attacks against civilians. Mr. President, it is ironic that Pakistan, with its long tainted record of genocidal acts, has chosen to refer to issues that are strictly internal to India. The United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan has reported that in the first 3 months of 2026, 750 civilian deaths and injuries were documented in Afghanistan as a result of cross-border armed violence perpetrated by Pakistani military forces, most of which occurred due to airstrikes. The UNAMA documentation attributed 94 of 95 incidents of civilian casualties to Pakistani security forces. The world has not forgotten that it was during the holy month of Ramadan in March this year, at a time of peace, reflection, and mercy, that Pakistan conducted a barbaric airstrike on the Omid Addiction Treatment Hospital in Kabul. Again.
All right, so Pakistan has been exposed by India on the global platform once again. Let me once again bring in my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, terror state Pakistan has been exposed on the global stage. Take us through the significance of the statement that has been made by India at UN.
See, it is very important to understand that international laws, as per international laws, you cannot be attacking civilians. Any military equipment or armament can be used to attack civilians who are unarmed in this case actually. And our PR in UN has been quoting specific examples of the way Pakistan has been using its gunships, helicopters and all. And also lots of ingress has been reported along the borders, which is almost 2,640 kilometers of length of border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and which is also said to be or called as Durin line in this case. What you see is a lot of civilians have been killed, and specifically the number brought out was almost 750 people in this case. So and this has been the approach in this area. I am reminded of a book, Beagles and Tigers, and a memoir of a British military officer who was in this area. The kind of the tribes which are there, they are very full of pride. So if anything happens to them, they'll be attacking definitely. And both sides within Pakistan and Afghanistan, the same lie. It is in this case, Pakistan has been facing a brunt from tribals in both areas because of their doings, and they had been creating lots of problems, whether it's in Balochistan or in this area. So it has all accumulated, and Pakistan is trying to suppress all that using the equipments, armaments and hard power, which is military in this case. So they had been facing, and backlashes have been also been there, but then primarily Pakistan has been also attacking civilian areas. Akansha.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayank, for getting us all those details. Terror state Pakistan has been exposed once again on the global stage. Thank you so much. We have another